Yo, what's going on with y'all? It's your boy NeoXO coming back at y'all with another video. Today I'm gonna be talking about Black Clover, and we're gonna talk about the details of Luicifero and Asta in the tree of qliphoth and how it all connects. It's just really getting crazy in the story right now. This is peak fiction, but getting right into what I wanted to talk about. It is an all-out war for the world, for the continent, for the human population. And I mention this because the war did not start off this way. The war really started because of the Dark Triad. But as we know, the Dark Triad were in fact betrayed by the devils. Now, I can say nobody was surprised by that. Pretty much everybody thought that there's no way Luicifero is seeing Dante as an equal, right? So it started off with the Dark Triad, and when you talk about war, there's not one battle, there's also many battles that are fought. So I say all that to say, because right now it's crazy, but I think it's gonna get even crazier because it started off with the Dark Triad, as we know, and the Spade Kingdom going against the Clover Kingdom, because we know that the Dark Triad had a little coup and they took over the Spade Kingdom. So Dante was the new king of the Spade Kingdom, but that's not originally how it started. So now it makes the plot thicken a little bit, because now that Dante is defeated, it makes room for somebody like to be the proper heir to the throne. Not saying that is going to take it, but it leaves room there for somebody else to lead the Spade Kingdom and lead them down a path of righteousness instead of down the dark path that they were going when they were under the leadership of Dante. Dante was more like a tyrant, you know what I mean? So Dante led the Spade Kingdom to kind of take over other kingdoms and try to take over the Diamond Kingdom. They tried to invade the Heart Kingdom, and they had deeper plans, but the simple fact is they were not allied. Now fast forward to now, the Clover Kingdom went to the Spade Kingdom to try to stop the war as fast as possible. So the first battles took place. We seen Dante get defeated, we seen Vonica get defeated, and we seen Z9 get defeated. Now, what ended up happening, like we know, is the tree of qliphoth was sped up, and due to Luicifero manipulating Dante and Morris, Luicifero is able to come out and manifest with only 2 gates of the underworld being open. Now this is where it gets even crazier, because now that Luicifero is out, it is not going to be easy to defeat this devil. Like, he is one of the highest ranking devils, so it's not going to be easy, and we have all the pieces in place for an all-out war. And I think this is where it's going to be headed, because Luicifero is already out. This is really laid out like a chess match. It got pieces everywhere, and all the pieces connect, and all the pieces have a role to play. Now Luicifero is proclaimed as the king of the underworld, so that's pretty obvious to see kind of where his role is headed. So he's gonna be like the king. He's gonna be like the main piece to be defeated. Now if you play chess, if you defeat the king, then you win the game. So they're going to need to try to defeat Luicifero. Now let's look at the Clover Kingdom side, or the side of humanity, because like I said, the war is getting crazier. At first it started between just the kingdoms. Now it's going between just the race of humanity, because if you guys remember, back whenever Lillipetrica was first getting the information about the tree of qliphoth, we got the information that 90% of humanity will be wiped out if the devils are allowed to escape the underworld. So we've seen people like Lotus already switch sides. Lotus was kind of on the side of evil, but he has a family, so he's like, okay, now I have to go against the devils, because I don't want my family to fall victim because I chose the wrong side. So for the most part, all of the humans are gonna band up together to fight off the devil. So the humans so far have tried to stop Luicifero from coming through, but that was unsuccessful, and it just pretty much angered Luicifero even more. We see Asta use the demon slasher to try to stop the manifestation of Luicifero from happening, but it did happen. Luicifero has manifested in the human world. Now I mentioned Luicifero being the king piece on the devil's side. So who is the king piece on the Clover Kingdom side, on the side of humanity? And that has to be Asta. Now Asta was stated to be the key piece in defeating these devils by Noct. Whenever they had the meeting, Noct said, we need Asta. If we don't have Asta, we can't win. That's basically what was said. So now we know that Asta has aspirations of being the Wizard King, and this is kind of like fate. It's kind of like destiny. We've seen this concept played around with in Black Clover already. We've seen Vanessa with Rouge play around with fate. So we kind of know it's Asta's fate to be in this position right here, and it's just up to him whether he's going to be able to overcome this or not, because it's already been stated that Asta is key to defeating Luicifero. If Asta dies, it's over with, and we can see that everybody's starting to catch on to that, because Asta is starting to be regarded as special, as opposed to when the series first started. Asta was kind of looked down upon, but now everyone's starting to realize, okay, we were wrong for looking at Asta that way. He's actually something special. And you can see this because whenever Asta tried to attack Luicifero, Asta was giving it his all, and then the devil from the second layer of the tree of qliphoth, the second level, he's unnamed right now, but he states, he's like, it's kind of peculiar how Asta is able to stand within the gravity of Luicifero, meaning that most who stand in the way of Luicifero were just not even get a chance to move because his presence is just that strong. Now when the captains see Asta trying to oppose Luicifero but not really succeeding right away, they all come to the aid of Asta. So they know that Asta is really important, and we see Noct kind of evacuating some of the people who are just gonna straight up die if they don't get evacuated, and then the people who can actually stand within Lucifero's gravity, they're taking the front line. Now on the side of the devils, the side of the qliphoth, whatever you want to call it, they have pawns, clear pawns. The lower level devils are literally just pawns. If you play chess, you know the pawns really can't do much. They're kind of sacrificial in a way. So Luicifero kind of sacrificed them. He took over their body, manifested. We've seen them going at some of the characters from the human side, and they can't even do much against powerful mages such as the Magic Knights. So we know that the Magic Knights obviously are the knights for the Clover Kingdom. You know, there's knights in chess, so those are clear to see. In chess, the knights are the ones who protect the king, or in this case, they're going to protect Asta because he's the king piece. We know he's going to be integral in defeating Luicifero, in defeating the devils in general. Now, I do think that the devils are going to not be defeated in an early battle. Like I said, it's a war, so they're going to have multiple battles. I don't think they're going to be able to defeat Luicifero just straight up right now. They're not going to be able to do that. And so far, we have been introduced to the major key pieces on the devil's side. We have seen 7 of the devils in some fashion, in some form, and we know that there's 10 high-ranking devils. So we have Luicifero, Magicula, Beelzebub, Lucifugus. Then they have the devil from the second layer. He's not really named right now. And then we have Lilith and Nama. Now, I don't really think Lilith and Nama are going to be able to do much. Asta already sent them packing on their way, but you know, they were introduced, so I'm going to mention them. But other than that, I don't really think they're going to be able to do much in this because, Asta, like I said, Asta already sent them packing, you know what I mean? But I do have to mention there's still 3 devils, high-ranking devils, that we do not know who they are. We don't know what their role is. We don't know if they're going to be included in this. They might have a completely separate plan, because if you look at the devil from the second layer, what we've seen so far, this might change because he's still a very new character. He seems like he's just a spectator. It doesn't seem like they collaborated together and came up with a plan or anything like that. Now, in one of the earlier battles of this war, we see Dante, Xenon, and Vonica sitting in a room, and they're kind of conspiring against the other kingdoms. They're coming up with a plan, basically, and they try to execute that plan. That's how they ended up going to the Clover Kingdom and kidnapping Captain Yami and Captain Vengeance. So that's how that ended up happening. But when it comes to these devils, it looked like they don't have a plan. They're just chaotic. These are chaotic beings, and that seems like what's happening right here. Now, I know some of you are thinking, hey, what about Julius? Julius is the Wizard King now. He's kind of out of commission, so he cannot fulfill the role of the king piece. You know what I mean? He can't. There's no way Julius in his current form is ever going to be able to stand off against the king of the underworld, Luicifero, in his current form. There's no way. So Asta, you know, takes over the role of the king. Not to say Asta literally takes Julius's position at this point, but in the future, I can see Asta actually taking the position. But I mean, he takes on the role, because if you think about it, the Wizard King is the one who's supposed to protect the kingdom. All right. So since Julius can't do that role right now, Asta's just gonna have to do it. Noct already said that he's the one that's gonna be needed for this war, and this war is only gonna get crazier. I believe there's gonna be plenty of battles. I don't believe it's just gonna be the battle that they already had. I think the battles are gonna continue to come, simply because we've not even been introduced to all the pieces on the devil side. We still have 3 unknown devils, and Beelzebub has not even manifested yet. Magicula did get defeated, but she didn't get killed. So it's a high possibility that we see her again in the future, and it's just gonna continue to unravel. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I love talking about Black Clover. If you guys love it too, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, leave a comment, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one.